Oliver, when did you want to, do you have more setup to do, or are you?
We're good to go. I wanted, if who has downloaded MimoLive from the demo license? Download you? Any other?
Yeah. So
I'll airdrop you a license key so you can license it.
we really only have, sorry, about half an hour with the way things go. So what we should do is just really kind of like give an overview. And basically what MimoLive is, that you've got editing programs like Adobe, like Final Cut Pro, and like Resolve. But there's also production switcher solutions, and on the high end you have products like Ross and Carbonite and Grass Valley. But for software-defined products, solutions like the TriCaster, like Wirecast, like OBS, like vMix, and so on, they become very popular, especially with everybody doing like hybrid, where they're working both in office and remotely. So MimoLive has been designed to turn a Macintosh into a super graphics machine. And that includes graphics, that includes video recording, that includes photography and graphics, that includes audio recording, that includes live streaming, and that includes switching. So basically, Oliver, who is the creator and the designer of this product, kind of wanted to show it off to you so you can see what we're talking about.
So where's John?
Right here.
Right here. So do you want to give the introduction?
You have two Johns here. I'm John Mendelson. I'm a retired professor emeritus from California State University, Monterey Bay, and I taught at CSU Chico. My undergraduate degree is in radio, television, and film. I've done some documentaries that were broadcast on PBS and won an award. I was a public relations officer for the Navy, and I've been doing online meetings and virtual conferences throughout the COVID. I've known Oliver for years as one of the finest software developers. He's won awards from Apple for multiple software tools. But we want to get right to this. This is MimoLive, which is an incredible television production tool. I assume you guys are media specialists and want to get into television production. Is that fairly close? If you think of television, it's moving pictures. How many of you are photographers? Anybody take pictures? Worked with Photoshop? A little bit. There's a thing called layers. MimoLive creates video very much in a model of Photoshop, where it layers video. It considers anything that's video, whether it's motion or still, something that can be manipulated. MimoLive is media in, media out, and live means it's good for live production. You have a rare occasion to talk to the genius behind the software. Today he'll skip across the top of its features like a rock across the pond, but it's deep and powerful. Oliver, for you.
Okay, so MimoLive, multi-in, multi-out live video engine. Just a quick overview of the user interface. We have on this side, we have the input, and we progress through the application to the output. So input, processing, output. That's basically the model, which makes this very easy to use. It looks a little overwhelming at the start, but it's really very basic. For everything you want to input, any video, live video, recorded video, images, data, what have you, you will create audio, you will create a source. And then you will use the layer stack to mix it all together. And the model is, as John already said, it's the Photoshop model. So as you may have known already in Photoshop, you have layer over layer over layer over layer, and that builds the program output. And in the middle console, if you select a layer in the stack, you will get the options, which is a ton of options for all the different layers we have. And then you have the output, and you have a lot of output options. You can stream it to YouTube, you can stream it to Facebook, you can stream it to Twitch, you can stream it to whatever. You can record it to disk. It does ISO recording, so if you have multiple cameras, you can have multiple files recorded of the cameras coming in, so you can have a mix and the individual cameras recorded, take it to Final Cut later on to mix it, or to what do you use for non-linear editing?
Premiere.
Premiere. You do it in, you can put it in Premiere and mix it, or you can do a live mix and save you all the post-production. For a lot of content, like lectures like this one, it doesn't pay off to have editing afterwards, because not a lot of people will watch it, not a lot of people will watch it twice, not a lot of people will go to the movies and pay for it. So critical thing is production speed. So run the show while we are talking, mix whatever you want in, presentation, lower thirds, what have you, write it to disk, upload it to your server, you're done. Alright, so let's do a couple of things, right? So so this is our camera here, and we John Scheiks asked me to talk a little bit also about the technology that we use here, which is called NDI. Who has heard of NDI? You've heard of NDI? So NDI is Network Device Interface. It's the idea that you would connect cameras and other devices, video devices, not through SDI or HDMI, but through a network. And the network is very easy. You have a switch that does power over Ethernet, so that means this cable that goes to the camera, it's only one cable, has both video and power and control for the camera. So setting up a 3-camera shot somewhere else with these cameras takes 15 minutes. You set up your switch, plug in Ethernet cables, they can go up to 300 yards, 300 feet, not yards, 300 feet cable, you plug in the cameras, you're done.
So Oliver's the camera we're looking at now, the one on the side wall there?
That is the one on the side wall here, and I can show you that we have the camera on the side wall show up here as a source. If I want to add another source, let's do, what do we should we add? Layers first. Layers first. So the magic of MimoLive starts when you add layers, and there's a large library of layers that you can that have functionality. Simple things like an analog clock. So I want an analog clock. I can put it here because it's on top of the placer. It's in the front. If I put the placer, the analog clock behind the placer, it will disappear because it's hidden behind the placer, behind the video. So I put it on top. It's on top. So the layer stack works from bottom to top, and if you cover something in the layer stack, it will not show up. Let's do a lower third. So pretty easy. Find a lower third. We have a library of lower thirds. We have more general one that's called lower third that has a lot of options you can customize. We have one that is called Lower Third Pro that has even more options to add animated backgrounds and things like that. But we also have some pre-built things that just work. So let's take the which one is my favorite? Is this one? Oh, that's not my favorite one. Let's find the one that said slide. Can't read it. Sliding horizontally. Slide in. That slide in is there. I think is the one. Yeah. So slide in. Add it to the layer stack. Press. And that's the magic is the live button. You press the live button and things go live. It's easy to change things. You go here and just change the name to Oliver, and you go press live, and your lower third is changed. So this is a very creative tool. Has lots of options for you to make your your program output.
So Oliver, to point out, you were going down that, and you were able to, in its element, you put in the name, you put in your stuff, you pushed it live, and it came out. it automatically went back. So you were able
Yeah.
to build that into the design of the input.
Yeah, so the third layer, for example, has two different, I hope you can read it, it has two different modes, an automatic mode and manual mode. The manual mode is I turn it on and it stays on until I turn it off again, or I have the automated mode that lets me set a certain time, which is, you know, if you do production, you know, one of the goals of MimoLive is to reduce the number of people needed to do production, ideally to just one person. And it can be the same person that's in front of the camera. Because another thing I'm going to show you later is that we have a remote control surface that you can put on an iPad or an iPhone. So you can put that in front of you and you press the buttons here and it will do all the magic on the screen. So we've made our little program here. Not very. I'm hurrying through this because we don't have much time, but not very exciting. Let's add. Now I have to find some. Let's add some meme. Monterey workshop. Where's the Monterey workshop assets? Where is it?
So they were just at the Monterey.
Oh yeah. Monterey
School,
assets.
right? At the Monterey
The
University.
public access station for this.
So let's add a meme, right? So we just drag it in. It's a video file, an MP4 file in this case. We support MP4 ProRes files, so what do we do to make it play in the program? Any ideas?
Put it in layers.
You know, you just drag it into the layer, you make a new layer for it, right? So let's make a layer, and we want it to play on top of everything. So what do? We move it up in the layer stack to here. We want it to be not covering up the clock. So we have to put it right under the clock so it stays on top of the clock stays on top of it. And if I press this, it will play, complete with sound, which you can't hear now, but trust me, it's there. So now we have like multiple elements in our show. What can we do now? We can say, this is gonna be a good YouTube video, right? So let's add a live streaming destination. You get your server, RTMP server and RTMP stream key, RTMP stream key from your YouTube account. You put that in here. You press this button and you're live. It's that easy. Also, we want to record it because it may get deleted from YouTube for violating some rights or something. So we want to keep a local copy. Just add the file recording, and once we press this button here, it will start record to the local file. We can set, it's now set to create an MP4 file. We can set it to create something else, and we have a lot of other options. For example, I can add a full screen playout, and the full screen playout is so you can connect a secondary monitor to your computer, and I can see I have as only one. I could turn the mirroring off, then I would have a secondary, but I don't have to, because if I play this full screen, it will just be full screen playout. So this is easy if you want to do an event at your school or something, and you have, in a studio discussion, you want to have something in the studio where people can see what's going on. This is very easy to do that this way. All right, so we have input, layer stack, creating the composition, and we have the output. Any questions?
Did you put one more camera in?
Yeah.
Can you move the layer images around? So for example, like the clock, can you move it to like the bottom?
yeah, pretty simple to move it around. You can just move it over here, grab it here, move it over there. You also have control over the exact values of the position. And so one other thing to note here is that this document is full HD, but we can make as easily we can make something in square, right? And we still have, you see, still it's just the same camera. It's still a full HD camera. It's automatically cropped, but now I want to, for example, zoom in a little bit. Maybe I can. So we have built in a multi-view, which allows you to select the camera here, and oh, it should have controls because it should be a PTC camera. But I think I may have screwed up setting up the network here, so.
What about this
Huh?
camera?
Well, this camera is not even showing up,
Oh.
which is kind of strange. But this has, okay, see, it has different IP numbers, and I don't know. This doesn't work because I forgot to set up the DHCP server, the DHCP server. Well, anyway, but if you can't zoom in this way, there's other ways to zoom in, right? So let's turn this off. Go back here. Go to the layer. Let's see what the layer can do. So the layer can show the video either full screen, or it can show the video so that it fits the screen that I've selected, or I can make it show in 1:1. So the resolution of this camera is 4K. So I can zoom in and still have 1 pixel, but 1 pixel here is 1 pixel from the camera, so it's 1:1. Or I can go and do a custom setup and maybe move the camera. So I want to focus on the corner here. So I zoom in here a little bit. Zoom in. And yeah, so I like that. But I want to be crazy and be on a sinking ship, so I can rotate this. So, and this is the magic of MimoLive, is that we treat every source equally. So if whether it's a PNG, JPEG, video file, or live video from a camera, it's all the same. Any layer, for example, the clock layer can have a background. And instead of the standard background, I can select any background, and I will just, for fun, because John asked for it, I can add another camera, and I will select my face camera here, FaceTime camera. So this is the camera here, and I can select that as a background for my clock. So, oh, it doesn't show anything? Oh yeah, now it shows me as the background for my clock.
Cool.
Right, because it's just video.
Actually, that's what I was going to ask. Based on the previous question, I was going to ask about picture-in-picture, and that's just what you showed.
So let me show some other tricks we can do. So let's go back to this. I think I will make a new placer and start fresh with placer. Fresh with placer, and just that's the main camera on the placer. Alright, so then we just switch back to, well, let's do 1920 by 1080. Of course we can do also like portrait video. This way we just do size 1080 by 1920, and we'll have TikTok or Instagram format, right? So, okay, so another trick, for example, we have this, it's not pretty good quality, but let's say you have you're shooting your your football game or whatever, and you have a scoreboard, and you have a view on the scoreboard. And what do you want? You want the scoreboard to be square, right? So what do? We add a filter. There's lots and lots and lots of filters for the sources. We add a DSQ filter. And the DSQ filter, I can click on here on the filter settings here. The DSQ filter lets me pick content from my video and DSQ it so it appears square. So now I have a square image of parts of
So
my.
you make the scoreboard look like it's a square, even though you're shooting at an angle.
Yeah. So let's do some other fun stuff. So now I want to be. I can take my camera. So now I'm on my secondary camera here, but I want to be in front of my slides. So what would we do? We could remove the background, right? So we go and remove the background. There's the background removal. So now I am separated from my background, and we can use a pip. So I select the turn it live, so it's in front of my camera, and now I assign the source to it. And now I am in front of my presentation that I have that I've captured from the camera, DSQ'd.
Can we
Put it
key
on the
you on
screen.
top of the crowd?
Sorry?
Key you on top of the crowd?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So play the. Oh, this one.
Great.
Then you should do.
Should do that.
So now so I might want to play the movie in loop. So because it's just a short movie, I want to see it multiple times. Just switch it to play loop, turn it live, and we'll stay as a loop and play.
And Albert, you did that without a green screen.
How did I do that without a green screen?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Magic.
You derived an alpha.
Huh?
You derived an alpha map.
So that's and we're using machine learning vision framework from Apple to do that. So it's AI-based background removal filter, and it works better, of course, if you have perfect lighting and perfect, and a good background. But it works well for most things.
Albert, I think if you smacked your head like they did, we wouldn't know the difference.
While you're doing that, I just point out that because of the support of NDI there actually has a camera tool from NDI Tools that turns an iPhone into a camera. So if I was on the same Wi-Fi circuit right now with Oliver, this could automatically appear as another source.
Interesting.
It's cool.
Yeah. So this is a pretty cool tool to do live video production. Yeah. And it even has like a traditional switcher. So if you need a switcher, there's a switcher layer, and there's even an auto switcher layer that follows the audio. So if you have like 3 cameras and 3 microphones, you can assign the microphones to the camera, and it will automatically switch to the camera that has the loudest noise. So, or we can do like a regular video switcher here and put that in.
What I'm finding a big use myself, right, for programs like MimoLive, is that we're doing a lot of remote production where we have some people on-prem and some people remote. And the integration that this thing has with Zoom, for example, allows you to very easily bring an outside source alongside all the other sources that you're working with. I
Unfortunately,
think that's
I
pretty
think I
relevant.
can't show you that. And if I record it as ProRes 4x4, I don't. This is a transparent video, right? So you can take it into Final Cut or Premiere and just superimpose it over anything you have. So yeah. So this is not only like for live production, but it's also a very powerful tool for post production. For example, John had the other John who left. He's always running off somewhere. He had bought a backpack with an LED screen on it with 64 by 64 pixels, right, resolution, right? So what do we do to get, and that backpack can only play animated GIFs. So what do? We set the video production tool, and he had a video in full HD, some animation, he wanted to convert it. So we put this MimoLive to 64 by 64 pixels, put in his animation, wrote out the file to a movie file, and then he has a tool to convert the movie file to an animated GIF. It's an Adobe online web service that's free to use. And we had the conversion done in seconds. If you use video files in any other production tool, you have to make sure that the video has the exact same specifications as the program output. This is 30 frames per second, so all your video coming in has to be 30 frames per second. Not in MimoLive. You can put in 15 frames per second or 60 frames per second files. You can put in 4K files and render them out as full HD in real time, so you don't have to do any conversion beforehand. Saves you tons of time.
So I think we're down to the last couple of minutes. Were there any questions from the audience?
Yes, questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of making this available on Windows at all?
We get this asked a lot, but a lot of that technology is built into macOS, so we're using macOS stuff. To port it to Windows would take years and years and years. We are not experts in Windows. We are experts on the Apple platform, so we concentrate on the Apple platform. Never say never, but at this time I don't see it.
Another question?
The camera guy has a question. So,
Sure.
what's your name?
Sam,
Sam.
Yeah.
Okay.
what do you think is like the biggest advantage over using OBS?
The biggest advantage is the fun factor, and that you have a product that is professionally supported. OBS is a great tool. It's open source, which also means it's created by committee. So it has a lot of quirks. Every new version that you download, something breaks, and this is professionally supported application. I think it can do more than OBS, easier. It's much.
As a user,
Yeah.
it does more. And I find a lot of times students want something like open source like OBS, and there's nothing against open source because it really is very powerful. It does have many people doing it. And there's some open source which is very strong. The key is how strong the leadership is around open source, and OBS has a much broader one. Oliver and his brother have a vision, and they stick to that vision, and there's a consistency in its how it's implemented, and it's focused. So this tool is much more reliable, much more robust, and much more powerful. And OBS has become very powerful, but it's somewhat like a house where you build a room and then you put a kitchen in and then you decide to remodel the bedroom and then the front door was different. I've been with this program since the beginning. I still recognize the interface. The difference is the earlier interface of inputs, I only had a few. Now I can throw the kitchen sink at this, but it works the same.
Can I also ask
Another
about
question
pricing
here.
really quick?
So pricing. So there is a studio license, which is the standard license that is, the target for this application is video production companies. and that is $70 a month. We do have, and we are working on options for students, for you guys, if you want to use it, that's much more economical. We currently have a non-profit license that's intended for teachers and people who work at churches as a volunteer and finance it out of their own pocket, and that's about $200 per year. And we are looking at ways making it more accessible even
But in the meantime, the demo version of it is free,
Yeah.
so you know, to just try it out and have it for like a week or two or something to try it out is free. It's a question here.
Oh, I was gonna ask about the pricing.
Okay. Another question.
So basically, you said that is there any professional companies that have used this program yet? And if you could say any, it's fine if you can't say anything, but if there's any companies or filmmakers or TV people that have used this program for filmmaking and television, or not yet.
We have a lot of customers in the professional space, but they are like, they don't like to talk about it because it's their competitive advantage over the other guys. So I can tell you that we have a couple of soccer clubs in Europe who use this for their jumbotrons.
Oh, cool.
We have you know what C-SPAN is, right?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, C-SPAN. C-SPAN is a public service that basically whose job it is to make the government accessible through live video. So we have the same. Every state has the same thing for the local governments, and we have, for example, the guys up in Washington State. TVW is one of our customers. We do have Formula One as the customer. We do have, I said, some big European soccer clubs as customers, and more. And you know, one of the value propositions of this app is that it makes the smaller guys more powerful, right? It's more accessible than all the big equipment. So you can replace a whole $50 million OB van with stuff on my laptop. And so I can do the same thing that CBS or that ABC or NBC or something can do for, you know, the
They
big
have
productions.
A 50-foot production truck,
Yeah,
trying to get
and-
14
Yeah.
cameras in, and Oliver can do that in the back of his
And I can
Tesla
do it,
with
yes.
one computer.
Yeah,
That's
But-
awesome.
yeah.
But I think,
and that's,
Oliver, you didn't really emphasize enough. Some of the major players who use this don't want to talk about why they're using it because it's different and unique.
Oh yeah.
And when you think of it, that they saw it as a competitive advantage. So what you're saying is people who are big in the broadcast industry realize this has capabilities that other people don't have, that you could use creatively to make shows that look better than anyone else's.
and also it's so sort of like they have this problem that they have to come up with new stuff all the time. And this is a great tool for testing new stuff, because the investment is not, you don't have to build something that's millions of dollars. You can get a Mac Studio and this license, and at maybe $4,000 or something, you have something that is, you know, as powerful as the $1 million setup. And you can use that to try out. For example, we have integration with social media, so a lot of big players had the problem that they wanted, you know, live stream to Facebook and then get the reactions and the comments and stuff. And they were using MimoLive to do that. And we had one big European broadcast corporation who wanted to do a program where they basically installed studios at the schools, and then they had the schools make program for their what is that, afternoon school?
Yeah, after school.
I don't know,
After
yeah.
school.
And so they deployed like lots of MimoLive studios to the schools and took their content back to their big network and broadcast that. They wouldn't have been able to do that. I mean, in the US, a lot of schools have studios, but in Europe they don't. So they, if they want to do that, something like that, they have to put in the studio, and they couldn't do that without MimoLive at any kind of scale.
I think that's awesome.
But the good news is there's a group called Office Hours Global. If you go to Office Hours Global search, you'll see it, and it's about. This is a group of over 5,000 professionals in the broadcast, film, and live event space. It uses Discord for discussion. There's a separate Discord link for that on MimoLive. MimoLive has its own website to go to for tutorials. So getting that information is not going to be hard, but more importantly, you have a president of your club, you have a professional in the field. We want to make powerful tools available to SMPTE club members who are wanting to become the next generation of creatives. And we're going to make Silicon Valley the new Hollywood.
That's interesting. I like it.
Good.
You have a really good program. I hope that everyone's going to use it because it's really good. I've seen like a few friends I have used it or were thinking of using it. So, yeah.
Good.
Thanks to everybody, and
Thank
especially
you.
thanks to Joseph for pulling this together on short notice today.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Let me wrap
Thank
up.
you.
That's all. And that's time. You guys are free to go if you like, but thanks to all who are here. We had a great presentation today. Thank you all for coming. Cool.